What is a cause of death you certainly don't want to die from? Death by lathe. It's not so much for me as it is for the poor fuck who has to untangle me. I've seen a few of these videos. I certainly would not want to be repeatedly rotated and smacked on the ground each time. There was a guy in England who got pulled through the mechanism of a conveyor belt between the belt and a wall. The space was the size of the front of a cereal box. His skull fit through fine, but most of his other bones, including his ribs and pelvis, were twisted and broken in the process. He survived. Even did an interview. Bones heal. Life goes on. But Christ, what a thing to go through. I remember reading about this guy that fell into a pit of concrete powder, and he inhaled some of it. It set in his lungs, causing him to very slowly and painfully suffocate. Wet concrete is also a chemical reaction. He was burned to death. Lungs first. Yep, concrete burns. Not fun. Never touch setting concrete with bare skin. Edit. I'm getting a lot of responses on this saying, what about kids who put their handprints in concrete and stuff along those lines? Yeah, mixed wet concrete isn't the worst. It might irritate your skin a bit, but maybe not even that. Prolonged contact like mixing and stuff with bare skin can really burn you bad. Chemical burns aren't fun. As you, Steelabram_69 said in this thread, it's honestly fine too, as long as you wash it off within 15 to 20 minutes. Unless it's a high early strength mix. Then keep bare skin away for sure. I know this because I was basically a concrete inspector this past summer and got wet concrete all over my hands multiple times a day. Sometimes they would dry out a bit, but that's it. Respiratory distress. A couple months ago I was on a train when it stopped and asked all medical personnel to report to my car. I look back and a man is on the floor with his girlfriend sobbing. Everyone went quiet, so I heard him gasp, "I can't breathe," and I was so scared I would witness this man's panicked last breaths. After about 20 minutes they were able to get him stable enough to carry him off. Before I had never really thought of not being able to breathe as a terrifying way to die, but damn. Lava. It's a lot worse than movies make it look. Spicy honey. You can drink lava, but only once. Being put in a big metal container naked, then having the container get heated by a fire. It would be way worse than just being caught on fire. http://news.bbc.co.uk/2/hi/uk_news/1443939.stm. Essentially what happened to two maintenance workers who were talked into climbing onto a bread conveyor through the baking oven. Long before the oven was cooled, they were in an extremely confined space, on a slow conveyor that was gradually heating. Burning theme this year. They had walkie-talkies to communicate with people outside, but it was impossible to get them out. This is going to sound really stupid, but could they not crawl out backwards? Brain-eating amoeba. I'm scared to shit of this. Drown in the mud like soldiers during World War I. Oh fuck that. I heard Dan Carlin's podcast on Passchendaele, and the unmitigated horror of slowly drowning in mud over the course of a few days haunts my sleep. They begged their brothers in arms to shoot theme this year. Mind giving more detail? Why were they drowning in the mud? Glow worms. The way they kill their prey is one of the most painful ways to die in the animal kingdom this year. They use the silk stands to attract prey, paralyze them, drill a hole in the side of their head and fill their insides with stomach acid, then leave them for 2 weeks to digest. Nature's slow cooker. More like nature's fucking psychopath. Edit. Thanks for the silver, it's useful. Rabies. I did some in-depth research a couple years ago and it is utterly horrifying to say the least. Yeah, it's pretty brutal, and there are almost no cases of people surviving once the virus has entered the nervous system this year. Getting buried alive. This whole thread is making me extremely anxious. This has put my claustrophobia into high gear. Glad I'm up for work or I'd have horrid nightmares. Surviving a high-speed car crash only to come out of surgery live in massive pain for 2 days and then your heart gives out from all the excruciating pain. Or surviving a fire but over half your body is covered in third-degree wounds, only to die weeks before being cleared to leave and having to spend all those years in the burn unit only to never see the outside world again. I had 4 spinal fusions in the last surgery. They zipper cut my stomach down the middle. The pain was so excruciating that if I even so much as turned my head laying down, my heart rate would spike. They had to sedate me several times because my heart rate would reach 160s, 170s when they tried to move me. Edit. If anyone wants to see the MRI or the scars on my stomach, I can post. Can you actually die from pain? This isn't a stupid question. I'm serious. If you were healthy but you were being tortured elaborately using a method which caused no physical damage but just made your sensory neurons fire off, would you die? Fire. Put me down for no fire death as well. Also, wouldn't be a big fan of being slowly crushed to death or stuck and starved to death under a collapsing building. More weight. Being tortured. I just want a quick and lights out. Call it a day. Not even just a quick peek-a-boo, take me out. A flying guillotine's blade straight to the back of the neck. Fuck that. Go to sleep comfortably and just never wake up. No idea that I died at all. It's the only way I want to go. Everything else is painful and scary. Being skinned. Edit. I mean it like being flayed while fully conscious. A naked man has few secrets. A flayed man. None. House Bolton. Reek's description in A Dance with Dragons of having the skin flayed from your finger, and the excruciating pain that forces you to eventually bite it off. But if you bite it off, Ramsay flays another. That's the shit of true nightmares. John Jones, who got stuck upside down in a super tight cave passage in Utah and rescuers couldn't get him out, so they had to just let him die and then sealed the cave up. Yeah, not my ideal bucket kicking. I can't take being upside down for 10 seconds without feeling extremely uncomfortable in my head. I can't imagine being like that for hours. Not just for hours. Until you die. I can't imagine how intense the pain must have been. Literally unthinkable what he went through. Killed by someone I know. I don't want to spend the last minutes of my life with the conflicting thought of all the moments I lived with that person versus what they're doing to me at the moment. Fear, frustration, sadness, betrayal, pain. A girl I went to high school with was stabbed to death by her roommate when she was studying abroad. Sometimes I have nightmares about what she must have gone through in her last moments of life. It's morbid and terrifying. My biggest fear is being crushed to death, or being stuck in such a way that I can't move. I don't have severe claustrophobia. I'll climb in a small enclosed space if it's safe, no problem. I used to do it all the time when I was a welder. But seeing pictures like this just give me high blood pressure. This is my fear as well. I read a story last year about a little Spanish toddler called Julian who fell down a borehole that was 2 feet wide and they couldn't get him out for a week. They sent a camera down there and the footage terrifies me. Also the footage that's going around on here, that is a camera going down a very tiny hole in an ice cap. Nope. Poor Julian. Spanish here. At least he died of the impact, and don't say too much. That impacted heavy on Spanish media. Being dissected like cutting open your stomach and that stuff. If the subject is alive, this is referred to as vivisection. Radiation poisoning. Edit. Those of y'all posting links to the Hisashi Ouchi story here really should include an SFL tag in your comment. If you're someone browsing the replies on this thread and click on a link, be prepared for some truly gruesome images, which confirm why radiation poisoning is such a heinous way to go. Just gotta pop a shitload of rad X. Then you're golden. Edit. You're the Trova has pointed out you don't inject rad X. Fixed it to pop. Currently reading a book about the radium girls. They used radium paint to paint watch dials during World War I and through the 1920s and had to put the brushes in their mouth to point the bristles. Some of them had their jaws rot right out of their heads. Absolutely awful way to go. And the company had the audacity to try and cover up that radium was dangerous. Radium's half-life is 1,700 years or something like that, so their bodies are still radioactive. Cheese grater. Like being rubbed against a giant one or one going up your ass.
Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.